Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently holding a security meeting with service chiefs, intelligence heads, and Inspector General of Police at the State House, Abuja. The emergency session comes amid heightened security concerns following the United States authorization of non-emergency embassy staff to leave Abuja and a controversial military airstrike in Borno State that killed over 100 civilians. The Nigerian military has defended an airstrike on Jili village market near the Borno-Yobe border, calling the target a terrorist enclave as public anger grows over reported civilian casualties. The strike carried out under Operation Hadi K has sparked widespread backlash with local authorities, political leaders and rights groups condemning the incident amid conflicting accounts of casualties. Local sources reported the death toll at over 40 civilians, while other reports indicated that figures could be significantly higher, reflecting ongoing confusion and lack of consensus over the exact number of casualties. Now, the military, however, maintained that the location was a legitimate military target, describing Jili as a known logistic hub and convergence point for fighters of the Islamic State West Africa province. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force says it has begun an investigation into claims of civilian casualties during airstrikes around Jili Market in Gendam local government area of Yobe State. In a statement, the Director of Public Relations and Information Headquarters, Nigerian Air Force Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, said it treats all reports of possible civilian harm with the utmost seriousness and empathy. The Air Force also noted that in line with its commitment, Chief of the Air Staff has directed an immediate activation of the Civilian Harm Accident and Investigation Cell to immediately proceed to the location on a fact-finding mission on the allegation. Former Senate President Ahmed Lawan has called for a full, transparent and independent investigation into a military airstrike in Jili in Gedam local government area of Yobe State, where more than 100 civilians were reportedly to have been killed. In a statement, Lawan said he was deeply saddened and disturbed by reports that the airstrike allegedly targeting suspected Boko Haram insurgents hit a local market, resulting in heavy civilian casualties. Eyewitness accounts cited in the statement claim that multiple civilian jets participated in the operation, with bombs reportedly dropped on a crowded marketplace. Now, in the meantime, the House of Representatives will convene a one-day dialogue and security conference in Jos, Plateau State capital, tomorrow, as part of effort aimed at addressing the root cause of recurring security challenges in the state. The chairman of the House Ad Hoc Committee on Security, Wali Ahmed, disclosed this when he led a delegation of members to the Rayfield Government House in Jos to inform Governor Caleb Mutfwang about the planned security summit. He told the governor that the House resolved to convene the discussion and security conference because of the urgent need to examine and address the root causes of the security challenges in Plateau State and beyond, while collaboratively developing practical and sustainable solutions. Over now to former Kano State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has appeared before the Kaduna State High Court as proceedings resumed in his ongoing trial instituted by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. The Federal High Court in Kaduna on April 1st had fixed its bail hearing for April 14th, the same day as African Democratic Congress convention. The development comes amid claims by the ADC that the former governor is facing political persecution through judicial process. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has dismissed artificial intelligence (AI) outputs in social media screenshots as unreliable evidence in the ongoing controversy surrounding alleged ex-post linked to its chairman. INEC's Director of Information and Communication Technology (ICT), Lawrence Bayode, stated this during an interview where he addressed claims tied to a social media account purportedly associated with the Commission's chairman. Bayode stressed that the Commission would rely strictly on verifiable and forensic evidence in determining the authenticity of the account and the content circulating online. The Supreme Court of Nigeria will tomorrow hear separate appeals arising from leadership disputes in two opposition parties, the African Democratic Congress and the People's Democratic Party. The appeal by embattled ADC National Chairman David Mark is slated for hearing alongside that of the Governor Seyi Makinde-backed fractional leadership of the PDP, led by Taminu Turaki, both challenging judgments of the Court of Appeal of Nigeria. The PDP crisis is headed for judicial resolution at the Apex Court as the Turaki-led fraction is challenging the appellate court decision which nullified its national convention and leadership structure. The All Progressive Congress has organized a national symposium to strategize on how to consolidate its position as it approaches the 2027 general elections. Global television political correspondent Ubong Usoro tells us more.
The symposium brought together party leaders, supporters, and professionals to deliberate on how to advance the APC's message to Nigerians ahead of the 2027 general elections. In his remarks, the Director General of the Integrity Group, Oke Idawone, said there are several achievements that the party can campaign with, noting that improvements in security and a reduction in cases of insecurity. He urged Nigerians to support security agencies with timely information, adding that the administration is working towards building a 1 trillion naira economy by 2030. He maintained that President Bola Tinubu has taken the right steps to reposition the country.
We are here to ensure that every information about the Nigerian state is correctly disseminated. Why do I say so? Today, the moderator for the discussant here today, she's on her way. She drove through all the way from Abia 4 p.m. to Abuja 5 a.m. this morning. There was no police escort. They arrived hale and hearty.
The chief host of the event, Uche Nnaji, former Minister of Science and Technology, said despite global challenges such as the Ukraine war, the administration of Bola Tinubu has continued to make notable progress. He highlighted investment in solar-powered infrastructure for schools and hospitals, taking them off national grid, as well as advancement towards launching multiple satellites.
Yet, despite headwinds, Nigeria has not stood still. Under President Tinubu's leadership, and with the support extended to Chief Nnaji during his tenure, the country made strategic forward-looking investments in critical sectors. One of the most transformative initiatives is the solarization program.
In his keynote address, the APC National Chairman, Professor Natawe Yawata, emphasized the role of support groups in a democracy, including lawmaking support, recruitment, policy formation, and voter education. He added that support groups remain vital to the party's success and overall electoral strength.
A support group is an institutional establishment that works within and without a political party. Work without a political party because it is not in the mainstream, but works with the political party because it shares in the aims, objectives, vision, and philosophy of the party.
The symposium is seen as part of early moves by the APC to strengthen its structure, harmonize its messaging, and rally support across the country as political activities gradually build up towards the 2027 general elections. Ubon Usoro for Global Television News.
Moving on now, the All Progressive Congress in Adamawa State has held ward congresses across the 226 wards in the 21 local government areas of the state. Speaking to journalists in Giri local government headquarters, the chairman of the ward and local government congresses, Ephraim Agber, commended party members for the peaceful conduct of the exercise. Agber said the outcome of the congresses in the state, which was conducted through consensus, has demonstrated that the party will not only win the presidential election, but that there is no room for any other party to secure a seat in the state. You are watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello and welcome. Temperatures are running quite high across the northern states, bringing some thermal discomfort. So we encourage everyone there to stay cool and hydrated as the heat continues. Heading to the central region, expect generally sunny skies over there with occasional patches of clouds. However, residents in parts of Plateau, Nasarawa, the Federal Capital Territory, some parts of Niger and Kwara should keep an eye out for possible thunderstorms, which may likely bring some rainfall. While parts of southern Kebbi, Kaduna, some parts of Adamawa might see some isolated cases of light to moderate showers. In the south, the weather is becoming more active. Heavier storms with gusty winds are expected across parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, some parts of Bayelsa, Delta, Rivers, extending inland to parts of Oyo, Ondo, some parts of Edo, Imo, and Ogun states. So wherever you are, stay weather aware and plan your day accordingly. Thank you for watching.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is News Cycle on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, Nigerians' drive for sugar self-sufficiency has taken a decisive turn as the federal government issues a firm directive to Dangote Sugar to deliver 600,000 metric tons annually by 2030. Kike Lomo Okere tells us more.
The Minister of State for Industry, John Eno, handed down the target during an inspection of the Dangote refinery sugar in Numa, Adamawa State, signaling a renewed push to cut Nigeria's heavy reliance on imported sugar. The visit, alongside the National Sugar Council development, formed part of a nationwide audit of sugar project ordered by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to fast-track local production under the Nigeria Sugar Master Plan. With Nigeria consuming 1.8 million metric tons of sugar yearly, the minister described current output as grossly inadequate, stressing that industry leaders like Dangote must take the lead in closing the gap. He noted that ongoing investments at the refinery, including the new 600 tons per day plant and expanded field operations, shows strong commitment, but warns that execution must match ambition. He reiterated the federal government's readiness to support operators by addressing key bottlenecks, particularly access to long-term financing needed to scale production. In response, Dangote Group pledged to ramp up investment and capacity, assuring that the 600,000 metric ton target by 2030 remains firmly within reach. As pressure mounts on key players, the message is clear. Nigeria's path to sugar independence will depend on how fast industry giants can deliver. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
In another development, the Nigerian Customs Service is stepping up efforts to enhance revenue generation with adoption of artificial intelligence as key stakeholders push for improved remittance and accountability systems. The Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, says Deploying artificial intelligence alongside stronger legislative oversight is key to boosting revenue and enforcing accountability. Again, Kikelomo Okere tells us more.
Giving the indication at the launch of training on AI-powered revenue generation, remittance and reconciliation for the Nigerian Customs Service in Abuja, the Comptroller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Adewale Adeniyi, says deploying artificial intelligence is aimed at strengthening transparency and efficiency within the Nigerian Customs Service. The CG says Customs is leveraging AI for cargo scanning, classification, risk management and revenue reconciliation. Moves, he says, are improving efficiency and reducing leakages. He added that closer collaboration with banks, auditors and other stakeholders is vital to strengthen the revenue chain.
We have also made extensive use of AI in the non-intrusive space. Now we have scanners that are AI-enabled that can actually lead image analysts to predict the kind of objects that may be concealed.
Chairman, House Committee on Public Accounts, Bamidele Salam, described the initiative as a timely intervention to modernize Nigeria's revenue architecture. He noted that leveraging technology could improve accuracy, reduce human error, and strengthen public trust in government institutions. Salam stressed that with rising fiscal demands, revenue-generating agencies must step up performance, assuring continued legislative support for the reforms.
But the commitment of those who will use these tools to ensuring that the end purpose, which is to enhance our operation, to make sure we are more efficient, to block leakages, is achieved, will lie mostly on the personnel.
Earlier, Deputy Comptroller General, Finance, Administration and Technical Service, Kikelomo Adiola, says AI is now central to modern revenue management. She says the ongoing training will equip officers with skills in data analysis, predict intelligence, and real-time reconciliation, urging participants to apply the knowledge to improve service delivery.
From automated data analysis to predictive intelligence and real-time reconciliation systems, AI presents us with the capability to transform how we manage and safeguard public funds.
As Nigeria grapples with growing fiscal pressures, the push to integrate artificial intelligence into custom operations signals a decisive shift towards transparency, efficiency, and accountability. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
An energy expert, Professor Ken Ife, has faulted the World Bank over its recommendation that Nigeria deepens fuel importation and fully liberalize its downstream petroleum sector. He describes the advice as an ill-timed, backward and inconsistent with Nigeria's law. Anete Patrick reports.
Speaking on Global TV's breakfast program, Ife said while parts of the bank's Nigeria development updates were sound, its position on fuel importation undermines the country's push for energy independence. He argued that advising Nigeria to return to large-scale fuel imports contradicts the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act, which prioritizes domestic crude supply for local refiners. According to him, the law clearly supports building local refining capacity rather than increasing dependence on imports.
The long-term problem facing Nigerian economy, which is what is rendering it incapable of developing, is the import dependency of the economy. This economy was designed by colonists and reinforced in 1945 by a new global standard that says you must be exporter of raw material, and we in the West and in the North will process and bring them for you to consume.
Professor Ife also questioned the evidence behind the World Bank's recommendation, describing it as lacking empirical support. He maintained that Nigeria's fuel price challenges are driven more by policy inconsistencies than resource constraints, insisting that proper implementation of domestic supply frameworks would stabilize prices.
We are building capacity, local capacity, that is far going to be in excess of Nigeria's demand, that will all be plunging us into export. And you are suddenly advising the country to abandon this measure and go into reckless imports to drain the foreign reserve and then drain even the exchange rate that we are getting. So that thing doesn't sit.
The World Bank's position has since sparked renewed debate over Nigeria's fuel policy, with concerns that increased importation could undermine gains in local refining and expose the economy to external shocks. Anitie Patrick, Global TV News.
And on the foreign news now, Benin election officials have begun counting votes after Sunday's election for president, with Finance Minister Ramad Wangani. Favorites have overseen a decade of economic growth despite jihadist attack in the north. The head of the Electoral Commission, Skauska Lafia, said the election had passed off peacefully. However, an electoral monitoring platform set up by civil society groups reported around 100 incident alerts during voting. Zarau Nasser tells us more.
These cases involved voting stations that had opened early or where voting boxes appeared full before the start of voting. Nearly 8 million voters were eligible to cast ballots to choose a successor to Patrice Talon, who steps down after 2 5-year terms, having endorsed Wadagni as his successor. In the capital, Porto-Novo, participation ranged between a mere 20 and 40% for some polling stations. Voting stations started closing at 4 p.m. local time, and the count started soon afterwards. The main opposition, the Democrat Party, is not fielding a candidate as its leader, Renaud Adbojo, failed to secure the required number of parliamentary endorsements needed to contest the vote. Preliminary results are expected early in the coming week. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV News.
In the sports text now, the Nigerian National League, NNL, has announced plans to hold a press conference on April 24th, 2026 in Lagos, as the league enters its defining phase with the highly anticipated Super 4 playoffs set to determine the overall champion of the season. The Super 4 will feature the top team from each group, all of whom have already secured automatic promotion to the Elite Nigeria Professional Football League, NPFL. And the playoff tournament will then serve as the ultimate decider of the overall NNL winner. Nigeria has been confirmed for all 6 relay events at the World Athletics Relay in Boron, Botswana. The clearance by world athletes mark a major boost for Team Nigeria, signaling a strong return to the global athletics stage. The country secured qualification through impressive performances at both local and international meets, including the Lafika International Relays and MTN Champs in Calabar. Ceylon Sports Nigerian Youth Handball Team has claimed a double victory at the International Handball Federation Trophy Africa Zone 3 phase in Lomé, Togo. The under-18 side defeated Ivory Coast 32-19, while the under-20 team beat Benin Republic 39-29 to seal both titles. The win secured continental qualification for both teams and highlight Nigeria's growing strength in youth handball development. And that's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.